welcome back to my channel. I am back to share with you guys a couple projects that I created for my twinsy, who is Christine. Hi Christine. She is Shabby Pinkhouse here on YouTube, and if you guys are not familiar with her, please make sure to check the link in the description box. I will have the link to her channel. She creates the most beautiful projects, and if you are a fan of Shabby Chic, you will love everything she creates. So if you guys don't already know, her and I share the same birthday, which was earlier this month, and I'm so late. I'm so sorry, Christine, but I wanted to create some shabbiness for her. So I'm going to share a card and a wall hanging. So first, let me share with you the card that I created. And here it is. I think it came out super cute. And this is a shaped easel card. I used one of Christine's favorite dies from Spellbinders, and this is one of my favorite dies as well, to create this shape. And it was a little tricky just trying to get the pieces to, you know, make it into a card. So this is the front. And then here is the back. I just covered it with some pattern paper, and I have my hand stamp right there, and then just this really tiny butterfly that I add sometimes to my projects. That's a little charm. And then when you open it up, that is what it looks like. So there is a lot going on, so I'm going to just try to move quickly. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments and I will get back to you. So I first created the base out of some 110-pound cardstock. I believe I used the pink, the really, really light shade of pink that I got from Michael's. And I cut it out several times. So you really can't use the technique that I have shown previously. To create this, I actually had to create a hinge in order for me to make it a card. So I cut that out, and then I layered pattern paper. This is actually from a different pattern paper than from the rest of the papers that I used, and I can't remember what that's called, but it's just a simple pink and white polka dot. The rest of the card is made using some of my hoarded papers. It is by Peon Design, and it's called the Paris Flea Market. It is absolutely gorgeous. So I cut out a second, or a sturdy piece out of that pink cardstock for the base using that die, and then I cut out the pattern paper, which you can barely see because it's all covered up. This is one of the images that's in the paper collection, so I just used an oval to cut that out, and then I just inked around the edges with some distress ink. I had to put a flower cluster, so I chose all my really small Wild Orchid Craft flowers and just made a beautiful cluster here on the left side. I also did stick in my little curly cues. Everything is stickled up with the crystal stickles because it has a hint of pink in it, so I thought it went really well. I also did fussy cut some of these butterflies from the collection, and then I actually, before I cut them out, I did adhere them onto some cardstock to make them really sturdy, and then fussy cut them out. I did ink around the edges with the spun sugar, and then just basically adhered the middle down, and then of course there's some shimmer on it. And I was left with this little space, which seems to happen with a lot of my cards, for the sentiment. So this is a Stampin' Up! Stamp set that I've had for a while, and it came in a kit, so I don't really know what it's called. So I stamped that out with Versamark, and then I've been using my gold embossing powder from Avery Elle, which I'm loving. So it says it's your day, and then there's 4 candles. And I stamped that out on some clear vellum, and I used a stitched die to cut that out to give it a little bit more interest. Underneath this cluster, I do have some cheesecloth, as well as underneath this layer right here, you can see it poking out. And this like sort of top note shape that has stitches, that is popped up as well. And then I just have a few Nouveau crystal drops that of course I had to adorn it with. And then these little pieces here and then in here, those are actually from the collection as well that I fussy cut and then popped up a little bit. So that is the front. I love how it came out. And then for the inside, there was just this open space here, so I did use that same stamp set and heat embossed Yay on there. And then I have a little cluster right here. Underneath is a couple of appliques that I put down first, and then added another one of those butterflies. Here is one of those tickets that I popped up, and this is what is going to be the stopper for the easel card. And then I just kind of went a little crazy with the Nouveau crystal drops because I was just having so much fun using them. So that is the inside. So I really hope she loves this card. I had a great time making this for her. And then I also created a wall hanging, and I really wanted to make something on an embroidery hoop. So this is what I came up with. This is an 8-inch embroidery hoop, and there is a lot going on. So like I said, if I don't cover something, please make sure to ask me in the comments down below. So this is the front. And then I covered the back as well. And basically what I did to make it all one level on both sides is I actually added some fiber fill in the middle and 2 pieces of like lightweight chipboard on either side so the fabric would not like buckle. And then I basically just adhered all these trims and pearls to adorn the hoop. So you really can't see the hoop. You can kind of see it. I did paint it gold. You can see it kind of poking out, but most of it is all covered up. I did add a hanger up here. So I just have some seam binding and then this really dainty cream lace, and I just threaded that through and added a pink rose cabochon. So I first adhered this white like ruffle trim. I believe I got this from Joanne. And then, well, first what I did was I added the fabric. And on the back here, this is actually some lace that I was gifted from Kat, who is Lolly Thimble. Hi, Kat. So it's actually this wide, and I kind of lined it up so it kind of looks like one seamless piece, and I think that worked out really well. Underneath that is just a pink fabric to kind of give it a little bit more color. And then I did adhere this Chinese braid type trim, and this one is a little bit wider, which was perfect for this. And this I got from Hobby Lobby. And then after adhering this lace, I have this fun pink like boa trim that I've had in my stash. I believe I got this from Tuesday Morning a while back, and I just adhered it on the inner part of where the lace ended. And I think it just gives it a really feminine touch. And I did create this fan using that same paper line that I created her card. And I followed the tutorial from Leanne, who is Lovely Scrappin', and I just adorned it from the top and the bottom to give it a little bit more character with some more trims. These, I believe, are both from Hobby Lobby as well. And I also adhered this cream, it's really light cream, on the top to give it a little bit more, something. This is just a gold metal like flower filigree, and I adhered that down, and I have this tiny cream doily piece underneath because it is cupped, and this was having a hard time sitting on top. So I still like the interest that it gives. Over here, you guys know I love my flower clusters, so I just kind of went to town. I first laid down this really pretty wedding applique. It has pearls, and I think it has some sequins, but I'm not sure. It does. And I laid that down on the right side. It was only like this long. And then I used a various amount of fabric flowers. I pulled out all my pinks, and I also have these like decorative leaves and these like plastic flowers with the shooting pearls, and these are actually from a wedding headdress, I think that's what it's called, or headpiece, that I basically took the entire thing apart. It has these beautiful elements in it with these sequins and pearls, so I just kind of tucked them in various places. And I also did add a couple of bow seam binding pieces down here to give it a little bit of a dangle. And I also added this shooting pearls. I don't know where I got this. I just found it in my stash. And there are also some paper flowers here from Wild Orchid Crafts. At first I wasn't going to stickle anything, but then of course I couldn't help myself. So they are stickled with that crystal stickle. And I also did whitewash everything. It's really kind of hard to see. You can kind of see it more on this filigree, but I did whitewash everything with watered down gesso to give it more of a shabby look. And then in the middle here where the fan comes together, I did add this gorgeous bling piece. It's like rose gold, and then there's some pearls and some bling. And then I also added a couple of my stick pins. So Christine, these do come out, so you can use them on other projects if you would like. So I just have those tucked in right there. And I just really like how the whole composition came together. This wasn't my original thought process in my head. I never really sketch anything. I just kind of go with how something turns out. So this is how this one turned out. So Christine, I really hope you love it. I was at a loss at first what to do when I had covered everything, so I'm glad it came together, and I love the way that it turned out. So thank you guys so much for stopping by and taking a look at my projects. I hope you guys are having a great week, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye everyone.